We deal with a wide spectrum when it comes to anime. If you thought anime was just about supernaturals, mechas, and action, then think again. The anime genre are varied. Out of this, one of the genres that's widely popular is romance. The romance genre is even further divided into many subgenres, so there's something for everyone. On one hand, you have light-hearted romantic comedies, and on the other hand, there are dramatic romances. Through the 2000s and 2010s, the shoujo genre has gained some serious ground, and the very idea of romance anime is even bigger than ever. Many drama and comedy series make sure to include romance plot, and for that good reason, the fans cannot get enough of it. So for that reason, today I am bringing you guys the list of top 10 underrated romance animes of all time. So without any further ado, let's start with our video. On the 10th number, the anime name is Kareshi Kanojo no Jijo. At first glance, Kare Kano is your average high school romance story. Thankfully, the odd personalities of two leading characters break the idea of this just being another romance story. Kare Kanojo does contain usual shoujo romance story elements when it comes to the trials for our main couples. But originality is able to come through the way the leading characters handle their problems, often ending in a comedic resolve to their troubles. Beside the usual love trials, Kare Kano also features a number of interesting side stories about the supporting characters too. So if you are not a fan of the main couple, fear not. There are other amusing couples in the series as well. Unfortunately, Kare Kano's story takes a nosedive with a lack of ending. The last few episodes continues to build the plot, but the series simply ends before anything can come out of the previous events. This is one of the greatest animes when it comes to Kare Kano, especially if one is not a manga reader. On the 9th number, the anime name is Haganai. What do you get when an ambitious and rather oddball girl drags an unwilling male into forming a club for whatever reason? The fabulous club is composed of Kodaka, Kobato Hasegawa, Yozora Mikazuki, Sena Kashiwazaki, Rika Shiguma, and Maria Takayama. And this anime is all about watching this rebellious group take on one of the world's most challenging tasks, making friends. Boku wa Tomodachi ga Sukinai follows the misadventure of our assembled group of social misfits as they chase after ever-elusive rose-colored campus life of popular people. And what a daunting task this seems to be. After all, when your club is made up of such interesting people and a misunderstood Yankee, the task of making true friends will seem quite difficult. Unknown to them, however, perhaps they will make friends with the very misfits they set out on the journey with. On the 8th number, the anime name is Amagami SS. The story starts with our main male protagonist Junichi Tachibana being stood up on a Christmas Eve date which occurred 2 years ago. Having a hard time warming up to others, he does not have a girlfriend. In the 7 arcs, which comprises of 4 episodes each arc is given one main heroine girl in which Junichi is their personal love interest. Each arc is set in a parallel universe, so the jump from arc to arc do not follow up. Each arc is unique in itself, and not only are given a different girl for each arc, but the circumstances and problems encountered are all different for each girl. This brings a little more flavor to the anime rather than being around the same issue. And one of the biggest reasons to watch this anime is that each of the arc has very satisfying endings. On the 7th number, the anime name is Hataraki Man. Hataraki Man was an anime that caught me by surprise. The anime deals with the themes of work, overwork, dissatisfaction with work, finding your purpose in work, ultimately loving your job, and even death. It is more type of mature anime, not that the anime that has any lewd content or even fan services, but it is immature in its theme and setting. The characters are aged 22 and up, Japanese men and women in a workplace with thoughts, desires, anxieties, and many more things. I found the story very outstanding, that it revolves around many characters who are involved professionally with each other, while they entirely maintains its focus on the protagonist. Each part of her is equally represented in some way, and you become acquainted with each person around her. At least I can definitely say that I did, and I appreciated knowing her environment and how realistic each profile was made for those around her. On the 6th number, the anime name is 3D Kanojo. Based off a popular manga of the same name, 3D Kanojo Real Girl, better known as Real Girl, is a romantic comedy anime that gives us opportunity to look at what will happen if a high school boy shunned by his fellow classmate for being an otaku was to encounter the beautiful but badly reputed troublemaker Iroha, and ends up receiving a most unexpected answer to a question that he asked merely as a joke. Taking place in a modern day Japan, the overall story of the 3D Kanojo girl follows the life of Hikari Tsusui, a high school student that, while kind-hearted and decent, is shunned by his fellow classmates for being an otaku and is encountered with the beautiful but ill-reputed high school girl Iroha Igarashi. As Hikari and Hiroka embarks on the most unexpected relationship, both of them must learn to break out of their shells that they have hidden behind all of their lives and learn that to find what true love is, and they must first learn to accept the strength and the flaws of both of their personalities and also overcome the barriers that isolation in society have created in their lives. On the 5th number, the anime name is Hentai Ojito Warawanai Neko or Hen Neko. The story of Hen Neko bases itself around Yoto Yokodera, an open pervert as many can guess from the title. Through a series of circumstances involving the best friend character giving up his pervert ways and Yoto's own desire to be open about being perverted, as well as hearing about a wish granting cat statue thing, Yoto meets a girl named Tsukiko, who attempts to also make a wish, only to find out that both of them are discontent with their new lives and make a pact about getting back what is theirs. Above all, the story of this anime is as imaginative and original as they can. Personally, I have never seen a story quite like this before, and because of that, it piqued my interest. However, it should be noted that the story only pertains to about 3 or so episodes. Each of the arcs have their own separate focus as a whole. It's a point that since the anime stems so far from the original idea that the story becomes completely different thing altogether and provides a very good viewing experience. On the 4th number, the anime name is Scum's Wish. Scum's Wish is the story of a girl who discovers her true feeling through sexual growth. The story's intro is quite interesting. The two main characters tries to find a solace in each other because they actually love their teachers. After this, some supporting characters are introduced and the story takes a twisted and fucked up turn. If you don't care about romantic relationship, you will enjoy this anime until the last episode, where everything was really rushed and didn't had any proper ending, but I have to say that I really liked how the show ended. I didn't see that coming, but overall it's not bad. The art is beautiful and I love the animation. The VN-like sequences were pretty good and fit the mood of the story. However, I found the character designs a bit bland. The male characters looks very much alike. I swear I wouldn't have recognized them apart without checking their hair colors. If you are looking for something original and psychological and you don't care about the ships, then give this show a try. On the 3rd number, the anime name is Kokoro Connect. The story of Kokoro Connect or KC revolves around a supernatural concept that drives the drama of the story. Simply put, a group teenagers already known for not having the best sense of control are put in the position where they no longer truly control their own bodies. Over the course of the story, this takes on several different forms, some more compelling than others. But the awesome thing about it is that the writers were clearly creatively inspired by this seemingly silly premise. A show that could have easily went on an ecchi slapstick accidental pervert scenes decided to use this as a way for the characters to learn more about themselves and each other. And as an audience, we also end up doing the same. Towards the end, the show does wander into some of the inane melodrama that plagues the lot of animes, but understanding that this is an inherent characteristic of the medium, such things cannot be helped. Kokoro Connect succeeded in blending its comedic school life with more serious emotional moments and a testament to the quality of writing and great direction. On the 2nd number, the anime name is The Fruit of Grisaya. Sometimes you run out of animes to watch or are just bored and come across something that sounds so dumb, but you say, oh wait, either way you don't have anything to watch right now, so let's watch this. Then you say you will only watch few episodes, but by the time you are done, you have watched them all. The story is far more rich as you continue watching. The anime touches upon serious topics, which is why some people rate this anime so low. Pain, death, rape, incest, and you could possibly find everything in this anime. Even though the anime has its comedic moments and a dose of ecchi moments, it doesn't take away from the serious tone for which the anime should be focused on. The story revolves around our protagonist Yuji and his 5 female classmates who he meets after transferring into the school. Throughout the anime, he helps each one with the problems that they have occurred in their early lives and become closer to each other. Each background differs and each one brings its own serious topic, including Yuji's own background for which is truly sad. This anime is the sense of masterpiece hidden among popular titles. It takes on serious topic and does it right. It's not afraid to challenge the industry, and it's the breath of fresh air from all of the typical animes out there. And on the first number, the anime name is Tsukiga Kirei. It is true that school life is one of the most common genres in Japanese animation. From specialty school to school life with mysteries and supernaturals, in short, it is a genre that has been widely exploited in animes in all type. As for the Tsukiga Kirei, it doesn't pretend to revitalize the genre and doesn't propose an original plot at first. As for Tsukiga Kirei, it doesn't pretend to revolutionize the genre and doesn't propose an original plot at first. In fact, Tsukiga Kirei is exceptional in its simplicity. The relationship between the different characters are particularly well developed. The series accurately combines the gestures, facial expressions of the characters without exaggerating the reactions. This series doesn't necessarily focus on the dialogues and emphasizes the subtlety of the reactions of the characters, making the relationship very realistic. Akane and Kotaro. Initially, they don't know each other. They notice briefly in the classroom and do not talk to each other. Their relationship is built slowly but surely. At first, they look at each other several times discreetly, meaning that they are interested in each other. Then, following certain travels events, they meet several times. Of course, you may be little irritated by their behaviors because they are shy and because they do not dare to look at each other to discuss. But gradually, they learn to know each other. And also, social network plays an important role in their relationship. And in general, we notice the omnipresence of line, which is very popular in Japan among students. This relationship will gradually evolve into romantic relation, and with this type of relationship comes all the difficulties that goes in hand to hand, namely the acceptance of relationship by the entourage and the friends. And because all of these reasons, Tsukiga Kirei takes the number 1 spot on our top 10 romance anime list. And that was for today's video, guys. That was all about the top 10 underrated romance anime of all time. What are your thoughts about this list? Do you have any other animes that you know and are underrated romance animes? Then if you know any animes, then let me know their titles in the comment section down below. And if you enjoyed this video, then don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel because I post daily anime content about top 10 top 5 listings, anime reviews, recommendations, news theories and all sorts of anime content on daily basis. So if you enjoyed, please subscribe, and that was it, and I will see you in the next one. Sayonara.